And is it live or is it Memorex? I guess it's live. We're live. So we say hello to everybody out in the chat, and say hello to our panel experts, Mr. Stewart, Gustavo, Chuck, and Randall, and we'll see if we get any more that pop in. But we'll do our hellos here with those that are in the chat. We got Mookie MC and Terry. And let's see who else we got. We got Bob Our Photos is in the house. Woody. And we got Real Nikon Lovers here. Good to see you. I know you've been working, to say the least, working your behind off, helping out family with flood problems, working on the house and everything. As we've talked about in some email correspondence, we're getting too old to be doing sheetrock and all that kind of stuff. We don't bend like we used to. Robert Varner's here, and Albert. Hello, Albert. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. I know you were helping out there, taking care of a family member for a while, I think, while your sister was traveling or what have you. Robert's in here, and Ava. Hello, Ava. And wait till we get a few more people in here before we start rocking and rolling, as they say. But hopefully everybody had reasonable weather in their neck of the woods and got out maybe to get some pictures this last week. I'll tell you a quick story from the other day. My friend Bob and I went out, and we joke that sometimes the eagles seem to like to come out when it's the crummiest, crappiest, dullest looking day you can imagine. And then that's when they decide that they want to put on a show. And so we were there, before the sun came up, but we had some great entertainment. I mean, normally if we see an eagle, it's, a flyby type of thing. You have it in your sights for maybe 2 minutes tops and it's gone. Or even if it's trying to get food or gets food, a fish, let's say, that probably only adds an extra 2 minutes, because it's not really any effort for them to get any food. But on this particular day, we got entertained by an eagle that was flying above us and in front of us for a good hour and a half, scaring all the other birds, go fly in a tree. The birds would come back, then it would fly out from the trees and scare all the birds away again. And it was quite the show. We had an hour and a half. And of course, it was more than partly cloudy that day, but we got some good shots, I think, of the I haven't loaded them on the computer yet, but I know from looking at them chimping and whatnot, I know I got some good shots of them in flight, full frame shots, because they got so close. And looking forward to seeing how they came out. But it's just funny, man. It's just like so much. Sometimes the best activity is when you have the worst lighting and it looks like it's going to rain any minute, and that's when everything's going on. It's just how it works out,
But typically that produces also the best photos, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You can't get them all because you can't put your shutter speed up too high because it's not, unless you want to shoot at ISO 20,000. But sometimes you are shooting at ISO 15,000. No doubt about that.
That's when your skill and ability comes in handy when conditions are bad.
Yeah. So Mozman's popping in here.
Yeah.
He's in North Carolina right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Joey was in very early. He's in and gone before we go on the air.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we scared him away then.
Well, I think he's doing other things tonight.
Well, usually he'll say, "Oh, I'm having a great dinner somewhere," right? I mean, usually he's having a meal somewhere.
He'll be back to say that, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. But we're up to 22 people, so we'll kind of get started here. What we're going to start off with, and I'll probably maybe repeat parts of this at the end of the show for people who come in later. But as we had talked, everybody's aware that there's going to be changes for 2025. That I'm not going to be doing a weekly live stream anymore after the end of December, and we promised you that there would be discussions that would occur, and that we would. I don't know why there's an echo. Somebody might have their YouTube channel on at the same time, maybe. I don't know. But we promised that we would get together, which we did this past Tuesday, which was November 12th, and we discussed the future of the show. And those who attended were Chuck and Roy Bixby and Tim, aka Mozman, Luis Randall, and myself. So what was decided is that every Saturday of the month, with the exception of the first Saturday of each month, Chuck will be hosting the live stream from AP Studios, aka Chuck Talks, starting January 11th of 2025. So welcome back to Chuck, and I expect everybody here in the chat to show up and support him, and the panel members will be there to support him as well. You're going to have the same, a lot of the same panel members that you've always had, from years ago to current day, and plus some maybe, Now the show will continue to start at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and so it'll start at the same time that we started the show tonight, and it'll run till midnight. It'll run 3 hours, and for Chuck, I put in it reserves the right to go into overtime. So it could be more than 3 hours. Now, here in Echo, for some reason, I don't know why, I offered, and it was agreed upon, that I'll continue to do the monthly photo review. So you're not getting rid of me completely. So first Saturday of every month, the photo review will occur, and that'll be on Selective Imagery's YouTube channel, whereas all the other Saturdays of the month will be on AP Studios Restream channel. So you're going to have to go to two different channels, which is not a big deal. Once a month, you'll do what you've been doing. And then the other 3 times a month, you'll go to AP Studios, Chuck Talks, and go to his YouTube channel to get the stream for those other episodes. And I just kind of looked at it that the photo review is gonna be my contribution to the photo community and a way of staying in touch with everybody that obviously I feel I developed a relationship with, the people that are on the panel that you see tonight, as well as all the people that have been kind enough to support me over the last year plus. And so I want to continue to do that and give back a little bit. And that's also going to be the same time, 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Same deal, same time, same same time, different channel, right? And we'll just keep going till all the photos are done. Maybe I'll interject a little bit of other material if need be as a filler, but that'll be just that first Saturday of the month. And now Chuck will be running the live stream. As I said, he's going to establish the format that he wants to have on that show. I'm sure he would be encouraged from those of you in the chat if you want to throw in any suggestions or have any comments at all. I'll let Chuck speak here. And we don't hear you, Chuck. If you're trying to, you're muted, I think. Yeah.
I think he figured it out.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Chuck. I don't know if you could hear us.
Rand. Hello. Is it echoing?
Echoing real bad, yeah.
All right. Let me go out right now.
Okay. So, if you have any suggestions or comments, throw it in the chat. And as things progress into next year. And
so let's make things clear, correct? Your last show was supposed to be Saturday, December 28th.
Right. But
now it's going to be January 4th, because January 4th being the first of the month, the first Saturday of the month, that's when we're going to have our January photo review for 2025.
Yeah.
Then on January 11th, which is the following Saturday, then we move to AP Studios. He will send the invites and all that. So you guys have to learn to navigate between the two channels, correct? 3 times per month on Chuck, 1 time per month on Jeffrey.
Yeah. And Chuck's cat's taking over.
Steven.
Yeah, Steven wants to hit the buttons on his little dashboard there.
Here. Can you hear echo?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right.
So I'll be taking a break after that first Saturday in January of next year for a while, and then I will intermittently show up in the chat when Chuck's on, and then at some point,
then you come back on February 1st.
See if he lets me sneak in and come on the panel once in a while for a little bit of time. But anyway, so you're not getting rid of me 100%. You're getting rid of me about 80%. So hopefully that's enough. Now, when we met on Tuesday, we also kind of reminded ourselves, and I'm going to remind everybody of what Gustavo appropriately worded as the rules of engagement that really apply to both Chuck's live stream, and the one that we're on now is we want to continue to encourage fellow photographers, focus on photography, polite engagement, have a supportive community, and be welcoming to all photo enthusiasts, regardless of what type of gear they use. Discourage discussion regarding politics, religion, and no trolling. Those in the chat and on the panel are empowered to discourage bad behavior. So that's it in a nutshell, as my dad would say when I was a kid, and hopefully this will keep the community intact, keep it growing, as well as providing a positive experience for everyone and be a welcoming place for other people to join both live streams as they deem fit to do so. But they're obviously, we welcome them with open arms for both channels in 2025. And Chuck will still have that same hairdo that he has, and his hair will always be perfect. So you don't have to worry about that. And that's about it. And when Chuck's mic gets echo goes away here, we'll let him interject some more commentary here.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, I think it sounds good.
Yeah,
I think you're good.
It
I
sounds
think
good.
you're good.
Okay.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, that's good.
You had to put a little bit of grease in all the wheels, Chuck, back before.
I know. A lot of things coming for all the. Well, the cat. You can't see him right now, but he's a crab. He's down there. Quit it. All right. Sorry.
He's going to start chewing your wires, you know.
Yeah. No, it's we're going to there'll be a little bit different when you first start out, because I'm not can't talk enough yet, to make it out what I'm saying, but I know I can put enough people on there to carry a conversation with the people, and I'm just going to anchor it, keep it alive. God,
No, understood.
sorry, man. I'll just keep it going, and then that's it. And as time goes on, my voice will begin to be heard, and looking for a good rant. All right.
Perfect.
Well, according to Mosman, I'm going to be doing home decorating. Well, we're all going to be doing that for the holidays. So we're all going to be doing home decorating for Christmas. So we're all going to be, if we haven't already decorated for the fall season, we're going to get to put all that stuff away, and then have to go to the attic or whatever and dig out all the stuff for Christmas and then start all over again.
So there was a request in the chat there, Jeffrey, to show what you have put in all the different.
Show a full view for a minute, maybe.
And then a description of what is in each of the shelf.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
And not only that, you're going to have to tell us where the extra room is so you can put in more cameras.
Well, there's empty shelves in there that have fillers in them right now. But I'll just point from my chair.
Very good.
So basically, when you start way up here in this area, this section here,
Yes.
it's going to be like the old Kodak Brownie cameras. It's going to be the old Argus cameras, and a variety of rangefinder cameras, Konicas, Minoltas, Petris, all sorts of different types. The third shelf down, which has the book in it, that kind of gets cut off. That has a few point and shoot cameras in it. And then when you move over to these two cabinets in here, you start getting into the SLRs. There's a Petri SLR in there. There's an OM1. There's the Fujika. There's the Maxim 7 XI. There's the Minolta SR2, which was the first 35 millimeter camera that they made. There's Fujikas in there, and the Konica Auto Rex, I believe it's called. That's both a half frame and a full frame camera. You have a way of switching back and forth to different modes.
Jeffrey, but you're not pointing. You're not doing it like Vanna from the.
Well, I don't have Vanna's looks, but everything I'm describing is in these two cabinets right here.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the cameras are more important than your looks, so you can point to them.
Well, then you get. You want me to stand here and like hold up letters?
No. You can point. You can point there from
I
there,
can
but
point,
you
okay.
point.
You
But I
might
need
have to be closer, so when you point, they can know what you're looking at.
Maybe I need a ruler.
Exactly.
I
That's
use
good,
a ruler.
Professor Jeffrey.
So when we get over here, okay, we're in the Nikon world now. We're with the Nikon Fs. A couple Nikon Fs. There's a Nikon camera in there, which was a Leica 3 copy that happens to have a Nikon lens on it. So that's in that cabinet as well. You've got I can't point worth a darn with this thing turning my head. So the Nikon is up here, the silver body camera, and then below that is an FM 3A, and then we have then we get into the D850 is in here, and Nikon F4S is over here with a few lenses, and then we have the Z-mount lenses on one side, we have the F-mount lenses on the other side, and a few of the longer, the 180 to 600 and the 600 PF for a Z-mount are in the bottom here. And then, oops, sorry, stepped on my dog. So then when we get over to the last two cabinets, we've got old large format, medium format folding bellows cameras, okay, from the 1920 era time frame, and there's a whole series of them in here. Most of them are Kodak, but some of them might be, there's like a Voigtland or Bessa camera in there. And when we move down to the next shelf here and over, we get into TLRs, Rally Flex, Argo Flex, I forget what the other ones are. I'll have to look quick. There's a Ico Flex and a Super Ryco Flex, and then the big one that's in here is the Connie Omega Flex with the accessories, and then further over in this last camera, in this here is basically a collection of flashes and light meters and stuff like that. And so I still have a few cabinets that have pictures in them and maybe a few other little things that are available for future purchases, of which my wife is not in any hurry for me to make. So if I want to stay out of trouble, I have to pace the purchasing over time.
Oh, Christmas is coming, so you have a good excuse.
Well, she said that she says to me, well, the solution to not having to do that cabinet is to just sell all the camera stuff and you don't have to worry about a cabinet. And so you know how that goes. I that fell on deaf ears. I kind of what? What'd you say? What?
So your working cameras are elsewhere.
Yeah, the Z9 is around the corner that you can't see on a tripod with the 800 PF, and the Z9 and the ZF are on another shelf that you can't see from my webcam on my computer. So the stuff that I use most often I have out, so I could just grab it and throw it around my neck and go out to the car and take off. stuff that I don't use as much. I figure the lenses in there between the LED lights help mitigate mold, and the humidity in there is relatively low. I mean, it's usually so far 50% or less. So it's good to leave them in the cabinets and keep them away from dust as well. So a lot of stuff will be kept in there as much as possible. But but anyway, that's that. I think it looks a little nicer than what I had before, a little less congested, a little more spread out. And as long as I don't get stupid and buy too much stuff and then cram it all in there, and then it looks too busy again, I think it's spread out pretty good right now.
You know that's going to happen, correct? So
no, I mean I can really see maybe a half a dozen more cameras, and that's about it.
okay.
That's about it. Obviously, you don't believe me.
No.
Yeah, Gustavo, maybe we should ask Jeff how many is half a dozen? Is it more than 20?
Or you're going to say it's on my list of a half a dozen pages worth.
Exactly.
Oh, I wasn't going to go that far.
So Mozman says he got a few moon pics earlier.
Supermoon tonight, last supermoon of 2024.
Yeah, the ones in New York were really impressive looking that they showed on the news.
Get some anything with the pics.
Anybody have any pics that they took that they want to share? Send them over.
Exactly.
Send them over.
It was overcast here, so didn't see it.
Yeah.
We'll throw them up. For general info here, last week we talked about I had a comparison table that I put together. We talked about the Z50 versus the Z50 2, put a little bit of commentary about the D500, whether or not it's a D500 replacement or not, which is a point of conversation that almost every content creator is having as they talk about that Z50 2 is bringing up that same question. So anyway, I saved a PDF version of that spreadsheet. So if anybody wants it for whatever reason, all you got to do is email me, and I'll send you the PDF file, and then you have it as a reference. If you want it, just notify me, send me an email, I'll send it to you. Now, when I was putting together the information to put in that spreadsheet, because the Z50 has been out for a while, obviously you could go on the Nikon USA webpage and you can look at the PDF file for the manual, because not everything that's called out in the spec sheet reflects everything that's in the camera. So when I was looking at the Z50 side of things, not only did I look at the spec sheet, I also looked through the whole manual. And unfortunately, with the Z50 version 2, at the time I was putting that information together, they had a spec sheet out, but they did not have a PDF file for a manual yet on the Nikon USA website to look at a manual. And I didn't check to see if it's there now, but it wasn't when I was putting the information together. But I mentioned that because there was another video, I think that Matt Irwin did, because there was some talk. The Z52 can be used as a webcam, and it is confirmed that you don't need any kind of webcam software to make it work. You just plug into the USB port, and there's probably some settings that you set up in the camera, which I'm not aware what they may be because I don't have a manual. But you do not need to use software to use your Z50 Mark II as a webcam, which is a pretty cool thing. So I'm pretty sure Matt Irwin was the one that brought that up. I'm not sure Richie might have as well, but But that's just an example when you can't get, all the documentation, you're going to miss some stuff. I don't care how hard you try, you're going to miss a few things because what can you do? If they don't put it out there, you can't, and you don't have one in your hand to play with, and you don't know, you don't know.
But that's an interesting feature, correct? That
Yeah.
it function as a webcam.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's cool. But let's see. Mozman says he has his 400 with his 400 millimeter lens with him with the TC. Yeah, no need for Nikon's webcam utility anymore. That's a good thing.
I wonder if they can do it with the other cameras too.
Well, supposedly they made it out like all the cameras are going to be able to work in the cloud, but then it was like only the Z6 III worked, and now they're saying that the Z50 version 2 works in the cloud, but it hasn't. I don't know that there's enough of them out there where people have verified that works seamlessly, that it works perfectly or not. I don't know, but obviously the Nikon's having some problem for some reason getting some other models that they said were going to work with that new cloud feature to work. So I don't know if it's a problem at the software end, or if it's a problem with a limitation or something in the camera that, maybe they have to do a firmware upgrade in some of those cameras to make them work in the cloud. I don't know. I don't know, but they are working on it, but I don't know how long that's going to take to get fixed.
Well, and they need to be some harmonization of all the software, correct? Because you can see that now the things are a little bit discombobulated, correct? Between the the C6 III and the CFC and the C8, the C9, and now the C50. But now that they have kind of completed the lineup, probably they can do that. Obviously, the integration with Red also means that some engineer must be busy on that front, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You don't know if they're going to do a Z5 version 2. There's still a little bit of tinkering they can do, but I'm sure if let's say they did a Z5 too, that's not going to be some rocket science type of job to do it. It's just a matter of, do they have the resources to do it right now? But I think what people are going to want to see in the next year, hopefully, is an announcement that they're going to be developing the Z9 II, and do some little teaser, drop some teasers, here or there, of what it might be able to do. But that might still be a year away. It depends on how much red stuff they want to incorporate into that camera. Will they do a new sensor with red to get better dynamic range? Will they incorporate compression, the red compression technology completely, and still keep what Nikon had for compression files? Or will they go, will they have both, or will they pick a side with what they're going to have in the camera? Who knows, right? And of course, they already have that little bit of in terms of video, where you can have the red LUTs that you can use right now for video. But those LUTs don't get installed in the camera. They're used inside of the software that you use to process your video files with. So, or it's in your external monitor that you might have hooked up on your camera.
Yeah, like LUTs are simple to produce. It's what they're going to have for compression. Are we going to have the Nico raw? Are we going to have red? Or are we going to have a combination?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a combination. But if they go to a new sensor, then they're going to need the XP8 to handle all the data. And then if we have an announcement within a year, I think we're going to be lucky because all of these things take time. They've got all of these cameras that they have to coordinate all the firmware, you know. And if you have, let's say you had one guy looking after each camera, you've got 10 guys that got to coordinate, you know, and they're having problems. But this having your computer recognize your camera as a camera, that can be fixed in firmware, you know. And so that's something that they got to push into the cameras, and that's another coordination problem. So maybe they're short-staffed like everybody else.
Well, I mean, I think they've obviously come a long way in a very short period of time in terms of how quickly they filled up, let's say 90% or 95% of their lens lineup, how quickly they filled that lens lineup up, and basically now have a lot of different camera bodies at a lot of different price points everywhere for more vlogging specific camera bodies or vlogging friendly camera bodies to serious amateur, what you'd consider serious amateur or semi-pro bodies to pro bodies. They've done a really, really good job compared to, when remember, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago when on Chuck's show, he would have a slide up on the screen and the only thing up there was the Z6 and the Z7, and then talking about the Z6 II and the Z7 II, and there wasn't anything else beyond that. And you look where we are now, and it's like, wow, a lot of stuff has happened in a short period of time. And I think most people should be very, very happy that as pretty much everybody predicted would happen, was a lot of the technology from the Z9 and the Z8 is being driven down into the lower priced models. Look at all the models that have Speed 7 processors in them now, okay, which then allow them to have maybe not all, but a pretty good percentage of the features that are in a Z8 or a Z9, in a ZF and in a Z6 III and in a new Z50 Mark II. So
not so much triple hammer, correct? In the Nikon lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they've done a pretty solid job. I mean, we could all find a couple things here or there. Like we're always gonna, you and I anyway, Gustavo, we're always gonna cry a little bit about pre-capture not being raw, but yeah, everybody's tired of hearing us complain about that. But the funny thing is, though, Richie complains about it too.
Exactly.
He tells Nikon people want that, and they're obviously, for whatever reason, not. I don't really know why that. I don't know why that has to be so hard. When there are other camera brands that do it.
They want to sell you cameras in about a year and a half.
Yeah, they want that. They want to put that in the Z9 too, and say, now you have it. So it's they're going to wait, make us wait, and then dangle the carrot in front of us.
Exactly.
It could be a RAM problem in the XP 7 chip, and that they just don't have enough extra storage. And it could be looking, but they should be able to fix that on the XP 8.
Well, I hope that they put in, when you do a Z9 II, I hope they put in the new PCI structure in the camera to fully support the new CFE cards. So you have that stupid, ridiculous speed capability with transferring files because right now, yeah, you could buy those new cards, which many already have, because they're backwards compatible and they'll work on a lot of camera bodies, but you're not taking advantage of the speed unless you change your architecture in your camera body. So hopefully they'll do that in a Z9 too. What's the matter? My doggy's driving me nuts. You can't see her, but she's looking at me and making noises. What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter?
As
Daddy
long as she's
ignoring
not
you?
between your knees and goes bite.
She's like, Daddy, you're ignoring me. That's not allowed in this house. I'm the number one priority.
I was just saying, it's a, what is it? X3, XZ7. Well, it's got more than enough power to use that for the whatever.
Mm.
Why haven't they put it in the other cameras so far? I guess hold up. Daggone it. They were waiting for the Z7 II. So I don't know.
Yeah.
In 7.3.
Yeah. I gotta wonder if they're gonna. Well, we've all been wondering a long time. Will they or will they not do it?
I said okay, Z9 II.
Oh, Z9 too. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at this point, do we think there will be a Z7 III?
According to Mozman, it will be.
See, every time that Nikon came out with a new flagship, it had a new chip in it. And so that the Z9 II will have an X-Speed 8 in it, because if it's following the line, because if they put two X-Speed 7s, the most they can have is an extra 50% processing power if everything goes right, which never happens. So having two doesn't double, it only comes up by 50% maybe. And that may not be enough.
Where you getting those from?
That's the way it works in any other computer, Chuck.
Because
And that's all a camera is a computer with a sensor on it.
Man, the Z7 or the XP3. Wait a minute. XP7 is supposed to be. I think it said something like 8 times the power of the XP6.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room.
But maybe there's something in the XP7 that doesn't allow them to do some of these things, and then they'll come out with the XP 8. But the problem is when they bought Red and having this Red technology, do they want to incorporate it into the XP 8 or not?
Yeah.
And that's what's slowing them down.
And Mossman makes a good point there, Chuck and Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'll throw it on the screen here. I think this is what you're talking about, or what you're referring to.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they cannot get into that trouble again.
Yeah.
Right? So they for that reason, I think, David, you're probably correct. They probably hang on here on this processor until they get a new one, because they don't want to repeat that two processors that don't work very efficiently.
Yeah, and see, it's going to take them more than a year once they get active at it to come up with a new processor. They probably started before they thought about buying Red, but now that they bought Red, that changes everything. You know,
Well, I mean, they're still gonna put the new XB8 in the
Yes.
camera.
yes, I agree with you there. But to come up with an X-Speed 8 to put in the camera is going to take more than a year.
Yeah.
So they bought Red in, was it June? So that a year, and if they started,
No. Wait a minute. How do you know what the time is?
it's simple engineering.
No, no.
No, it is. It takes. If you have a look at how long that it takes to design this and to build it and to test it, that's more than a year because Richie has a camera for 4 months for testing. You know, it's got to be built before he can test it.
Wants to see what? I'm talking about the Z92.
Yes, but the thing is what technology are they going to put in the chip? Because right now the compression for the Tico Raw is in the chip, and for Red it's in the. I'm sure it's in there also, and that takes a while to figure out. Do we put in the Tico Raw compression? Do we put in the Red compression, or do you put in a hybrid? And even to
or
make
do you
that,
put in both? Or do you put in both?
oh yeah, or put in both, you know, that is not a simple decision because you're going to start on your engineering, try to go whichever one you want. You're going to find out it's not going to work,
But
and you may end up doing all three, and then decide further down the road that we're only going to do one.
where do you get your engineering from? Where does it come from?
I've been in the design business for a long time, Chuck. I know how long it takes to do these things.
They could when you were in the Nikon thing, though. I mean, look at how much it's come since you said that.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is you can't do anything unless we have the new chip. The new chip comes first.
Well, that's right. And
Yes.
who's to say they weren't designing this 2 years ago?
Yes, but they bought Red since then, and because they bought Red, that changes everything. Because they're going to want to put the Red technology in there because Red has 17 stops of dynamic range and you can push it to 20. You're going to want that in your Nikon.
Maybe.
You're saying you don't want dynamic range in your camera?
No, I don't know, but I don't think that I don't know. You know that they don't try yet.
Well, we really don't know, but we would like to have it.
Yeah. Like I would love to have 18 stops of dynamic range and
To say
20
they have
miles.
it is crazy.
What's crazy?
You to do this in a camera, it's just it's Jewish, you know. Until I don't know that the Red can be handed over to a Z and just.
It takes a while, you know, because the Red technicians and the Nikon technicians have got to work together on this.
And it may go on another year.
Well, that's the problem. It could be over a year.
And if it only takes a year, it'll be fast.
That still won't hold of the Z7 92, Z92.
No, it's the new processor is going to hold up the Z9 too. And all of this stuff has got to come first.
Well, it's going to depend on what their marketing strategy is. If they want to incorporate a lot of the Red stuff, and they want to have a not only need a faster processor, but they also want to have, I think the other part of the puzzle is if they want the dynamic range, they're going to need a new sensor. And if they're going to use Red Technology, who's designed their own sensors to get that dynamic range in their cine cameras, if they want to incorporate that into a Z9 II, then now you have that added on to the processing task of, and now you also got to do a new sensor. So it all depends on how far Nikon wants to go with their next flagship, sucking in stuff from Red. Are you going to suck in a little bit, or are you going to suck in a lot of it? And if you're going to suck in a lot of it, it's going to add a lot of time. If you suck in a little bit, might not be so bad, but I don't know what they're thinking. You know, I mean, they don't really share that much with everybody.
Yeah. See,
They keep it private.
Yeah.
if they only suck in a little bit, then it's going to be just an interim upgrade, and we'll have the Z9 III right away. You know, but
and that can happen, David, because probably they were working on that C9 II already before completing the transaction with Red. Correct.
Well, I'm sure they started the Z9 II the day that they released the Z9.
Oh yeah.
And they're probably on a board someplace. They have, these are the specs for the Z9 II, and these are the specs for the Z9 III. Now, and how much are we going to incorporate Red technology into the Z9 II?
But I think Tim is talking about a C9H, which is like a super fast, not necessarily global shutter C9 following the current model. That would be.
Here's the thing here that Mosman brought up in the chat is that you have to factor in sales when it comes to releasing new processors. You have first to make your money back from the fab and sell X amount of what you have to be profitable. You have to get your return on investment for what you've just done.
Exactly.
On the Z9 and the Z8 and all these other cameras. So, you know, what how fast they can go, they might be able to go a little faster than what we think, but they may choose not to because they want to milk the technology they have right now as long as they can, as long as they got good revenue coming in. They may not be in as big of a hurry as we may.
Yeah, but on the other hand, we know that they have a couple of at least 3 years of good financial results. So most likely they have already gone positive on the investments for this series of cameras. Correct?
Yeah, yeah. I think what they're going to do is slow down and do it right. And get it right, you know.
Yes.
Well, if they don't get it right, they will be buying Hoover next because everybody's going to say they suck. So they're going to have to buy Hoover. So that's how you tie it all into Hoover, because if they don't do it right, they're going to need a vacuum to suck up the mess.
I'm sure the Hoover camera will not overheat.
It won't overheat. It'll be real noisy though.
That's true.
And Mookie's been a Kirby man. Yeah, it's funny, you know. I bought one of my kids sold Kirby vacuums for a little while, and of course, Mom and Dad had to be the first customer, right? That thing could suck the carpet off your floor, but it weighed a ton. It weighed a ton. Yeah, that was quite a machine, but it wasn't the easiest thing to hook up your accessories to and everything else. But it was built to last probably 3 lifetimes. You know,
That's true.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
So Tim's throwing out here release Z7 III, Z5 II, Z302 with red presets, C80 all-in Speed 7, and that gets you 2 years worth of basically 2 years worth of cameras. Yeah, it depends how much they want to stretch it out. I mean, it's I don't know.
Like 5 years between flagships is not unheard of. You know?
Well, you haven't really had that. Well, I shouldn't say you haven't had that with Canon, but I mean, obviously, Sony's been quicker to throw out flagships, I think, than anybody else. You know.
Well, I
Every
mean,
other week.
this
Hey.
no throwing new cameras, but the Alpha One have been there for quite a while now, correct?
Well, how
Until
many years though? Do you think?
at least
Wasn't
4.
it wasn't that much? Maybe a year before the Z9.
No, I think it was more than a year. I mean, we can check. Tim, that's a job for you. When was
The A1 got released because the A1 Mark II is coming out in November.
exactly? But I think I think it's about 4 years or more.
Well, yeah, but in the meantime, they put out the
yeah.
A9 III, right? Right. They put out the A9 III though as well, and then if you want to consider that a flagship. Oh, thank you, Ted. We both look forward to seeing you visit the respective live streams. You're a great supporter of both of us clowns. So we
Exactly.
appreciate it.
So Tim said January 27, 2021. I presume that refers to the Alpha
The
1.
A1, yeah, 2020.
And now this new Alpha 1 is coming in 2020
Well, 2024.
24. So
That's less than 4 years.
Or is it next year?
well, but it's I mean, considering one's in January and the other one will be December, nobody's going to have that camera here before January, correct?
Yeah, so there's 4 years.
In 4 years.
Yeah. And nobody's faster than Sony when it comes to coming up with new models.
Exactly.
You know, so 5 years is still realistic.
Interesting enough, the rumor, and I'm sure you have that one as well, Jeff, for later, but the rumor specs of the new Alpha 1, the Alpha 1 2, it doesn't look like a big jump, correct? Looks
No, it's I do have that information for later on, but it's an incremental step, but not a whole new camera. Although it's a whole new body
And more expensive.
and yeah, I think I converted their euros to US dollars, and it was almost $6,900 if I recall when I look at my notes. Based on what they announced the camera is going to sell for in euros, I converted it to US currency, and it's like $6,900 US dollars.
Yeah, and they have the taxes included and so on.
That's a lot of ching, man. That's a lot of ching. You know, but
no, I'm so tired.
Yeah,
that's worked so hard.
Well, what's the I'm trying to think now. I'd have to go back and look at notes, but you know, I mean, obviously cameras aren't getting cheaper. Nothing's getting cheaper.
Well, what
obviously, I mean, Sony has been very high in the price points with their high end models, and Canon tends to be pretty high as well versus Nikon. I mean, and hopefully Nikon sticks to the trend of having a camera that's as good or better than, and being a considerable amount of money less, because that obviously that's helped. That's been a big part of their recovery, obviously.
Yeah. But of course there have been also inflation, correct?
Yeah.
But on the other side, compensating inflation, at least for these Japanese manufacturers, have been the weak yen, correct? So otherwise, I think we would have seen a lot if the yen would have stayed strong. we would have seen a lot more price increases. Right? So the two trends have been opposite in terms of the camera markets. I mean, most of the R&D costs and their all the manufacturing in Japan have been uh, salaries and everything, correct? It's in yen, which have been quite weak.
Well, I can tell you that the used market, the camera used market for is stupid right now. I mean, the prices that are being asked for used cameras are crazy high, crazy high.
Well, well, cameras may be going the same way as phones. Is that Apple is thinking about coming out with a new phone every other year because they're only small incremental changes, and people aren't buying every one anymore. So
Well, yeah, the phones now, the phones are like over $1,000 a piece. Now a lot of them anyway.
yeah.
I mean, that's I won't say what I paid for my first phone. I don't even know if my first phone hit 3 digits.
On the other hand, they are more. They are not. I mean, it's a misnomer to call them phone. Nobody uses to talk on them, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's for everything else. It's for
They're your communicator,
yeah,
except it doesn't flip.
yeah. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I mean, it's I think we were wondering when or what was going to come out of Nikon, for a few months now. And so, okay, they upgraded the Z50 Mark II, and then Nikon rumors likes to say they're going to upgrade the old huge zoom built-in zoom lens P1000 type series of camera that I know some people that shoot those. I mean, the zoom range is always extremely impressive, but the sensor size is extremely small. And if they ever put, they're going to be careful not to make the sensor too big, because they definitely don't want to have that cut into the sales of their what we consider the higher end cameras. You know what I mean? They can't afford to make those cameras too good.
And they are good. So you see, Martin Hill is in, and he was saying that the price in Europe it has a 19% tax.
They're VAT tax.
Yeah, value-added tax.
Yeah.
But the ratio in prices between what it is in Europe and the States, it's relatively constant.
Exactly.
As they use a factor in there. It's just not a straight conversion.
Yes, you have to take the taxes first and then do the conversion.
Yeah. Well, good to see Martin in here, and Tim as well. Tim was here last week, I believe, as well, for a little while.
Yes.
And you guys in the States make it.
Tim, we're going to blame you because you're the one that caused Gustavo to spend money to go to Japan.
No blame, no blame, no blame at all.
So we blame ourselves for making our companions here on the panel, as well as those in the chat, to spend money on camera gear. But you upped us because you got Gustavo to go to Japan. So
keep going, Tim.
Yeah. You're gonna have to come on, Tim, and show photos from another part of the world, and then get Gustavo to go there next. We'll talk a little bit about some of the Nikon rumors. I guess we'll cover some of that. Obviously, there's every week third-party lens releases for the Z mount. They got the Laowa 15mm f5, which they're calling the cookie lens, cookie full frame lens, is $399. They got a 7 Artisans 10 millimeter f2.8 fisheye and a 9 millimeter f5.6 ASPH lens with a rear ND filter. And Per Gear has a 100 millimeter f2.8 full frame 2x macro lens coming out. So you've got now I will state this, so I'm just picking things out of existing rumor channels, and I acknowledge where I'm getting it from. And because I mention it doesn't mean that I support the product. I'm not endorsing these products. I'm just letting you know they're out there because I'm very picky about buying anything third party, and there are a lot of Viltrox is starting to flex its muscles and produce some, I think, very good lenses in the viewpoint of many as of late. But there are other third-party manufacturers that I think a lot of people would not want to buy. And so I'm just saying I'm not mentioning these things as an endorsement to any of these brands because I don't really have a lot of third-party stuff. I have mostly Nikon gear. So,
Well, I have 1 foot on each side of the fence, firmly planted, because I've got this thing here. It's a Laowa. It's their 10 millimeter. I also have their 12 and their 15, because Nikkor doesn't make anything comparable, and I need these focal lengths.
Exactly.
And I would love to get Nikkor, but I can't. And so like I have a fair bit of third-party glass. I've got Sigma, and I bought a Rokinon today. It's a 24 millimeter tilt shift F mount because the price was right.
Show it, David. Do you have it there in your hand?
Oh, I got it here. And it is on my if you want to focus here. This thing here, it says D8 because somebody got out the fingernail polish and scrubbed out the 50. But okay. And
So
my ZF doesn't, it wants to focus on my face, not on the camera. But this is,
that's a tilt shift or tilt only?
tilt shift.
no, and
That's good.
And with this one, I have to use it completely manual because, including the exposure, because for some reason, my Z8 and this don't like each other. So when you go to take a picture, it's just back like shooting film,
Yes.
And I really should be having this on a tripod so I can get the focus and get everything right, because you just can't go bang, bang, bang with this.
Yeah.
It's not meant to, it's not made for bang, bang, bang.
No, it's not meant for bang, bang, bang. And everyone on this side are the gray ones. I got locks, and this side on the black ones, these are your adjustments. And it's and the lens rotates around and it goes sideways, and it's one of those things that I can play with this for a week and not have it down packed,
Exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is, you won't find yourself using that often, and so you're always going to feel like you're rusty when you want to use it.
Yeah, and it works better on a Z than it does on my 850. Well, because you got your focus peaking, but it's fun, but it's only 24 and it doesn't zoom. unless you get out your feet and start moving.
Yeah.
But this, you really should use it on a tripod.
Yeah.
So I
And
need a
what-
tripod with wheels.
So what is the
Right.
f-top on that one?
3.5.
Okay.
Well, your only other option is, and you've already done this in some cases, is using F-mount glass with a FTZ to use on your Z bodies as well.
Oh, and Terry, he bought the 10 millimeter lava yesterday, and I figure you did good, Terry,
Yeah.
because you can't get them in the States for some reason.
So the question for you and Terry and others that are in the wide angle, would you buy a Nikkor lens when those eventually get out, or you will stay with your Laowas?
Well, the way I look at it is my Laowas are good enough, and if I'm shooting the Aurora, it's not sharp anyway. The only thing is the stars that you have in the shot. That's the only thing that's sharp. Everything else it's colors and whatever. It's like my background with that being a sunset. The sunsets are never really sharp.
Yeah.
And I can spend 4 times the money to buy a Nikkor to have it sharp, but it doesn't do me any good.
Yes.
And I'll use my my Laowa during the only for Aurora, not for anything. Well, I have walked around with them, but what else?
So you say it doesn't need to be that sharp.
Doesn't need to be that sharp,
Mm.
But I took my 10 to Vancouver, and I was shooting some statues, and like I had part of the statue only 5 millimeters from the front of my lens, and then it had its arms out and whatever, and I got the whole thing. Because and when it comes to perspective, if like we have our famous 5, which are the women that got the vote for the women in Canada, and there's one that's holding a teacup up like this, and I put the camera right by the teacup, and it looks like her head was miles away, because of the way the perspective is on. But it's interesting what you can do when you get into this really, really short stuff, But I much prefer my Laowa glass over my Nikkor 8-15 zoom. The Laowa is far superior.
Okay.
Yeah, Martin's blaming me for the 100 millimeter. I have the 100 millimeter TT Artisan macro tilt shift lens, and Martin has it too. And the weird thing about that lens was, I remember that I could not get it from all of a sudden. B&H didn't carry it anymore. Adorama didn't carry it anymore, and I ended up buying it from Amazon, which was not something I wanted to do, but they were the only ones that still had them. And then now they have a 2 times 100 millimeter, a new 2 times 100 millimeter macro, but it's not tilt shift. So I don't know if they had some problems. I mean, I didn't have any problems using it. I mean, I visually had in my mind what I wanted to use the tilt shift for, but I didn't have. I wanted to use it, and I don't have that environment like within half hour of my house. Let's put it that way. But what I wanted to do was, let's just say I had a huge field of flowers, wildflowers. I wanted to get in that field and fool around with the tilt mechanism. I wanted to have it so instead of, how you can, with a standard lens, you could do selective focusing, and just have it so like you have a horizontal band, so far in on the shot that's sharp, and then everything in front is blurry, everything is black, and back is blurry. I wanted to use that lens to change the angle so that the blurriness went, on a 45 or something. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I didn't find that big field of flowers to try it on. But that's kind of one of the things I wanted to fool around with. But.
Yeah. I also have the TT Artisan tilt. It's a 50 millimeter. But it's just tilt, it's not tilt shift. But this one is Z mount, where the other, my Rokinon is F mount. But
hey Chuck, we gotta start a rumor and say that we're waiting for the Nikon rangefinder camera to come out.
with the X-Speed 9.
Now, Chuck would buy one of those for one reason, because he would then do a video and put the camera underneath his rear tire of his vehicle and drive over it, and he would film it.
There you go.
The funny thing, interesting thing is when we were talking last week and a little tonight about the Z50 is Nikon Japan's already saying the Z52 is going to have camera shortages already, and they're going to supposedly start shipping them later this month. So who knows how many people are going to get them before they send out. They're already kind of preparing the apology letter. That all the camera manufacturers send out.
All the other recent cameras have been.
So sorry that you have to wait. We didn't due to insane volume of orders that we did not anticipate. It's going to be delayed for forever.
I think the latest camera from them, the C6 and the CF, they have been almost ready available, correct?
They did good, but I mean, this was the wild card for them, because I think they hard for them to know whether people were really going to put their money down on an APS-C camera. I mean, a little more risky, for them, because they haven't done it in a while. So they were probably a little more cautious about how many they made up front, so I'm not surprised that they may end up with with people having to wait, if it takes off. It sounds like they must already have pre-orders or whatever, and they know they're in trouble already to come out with a comment already.
Very good. Very good. Very.
I mean, I'm not going to complain, whether I want the camera or not. I mean, we want Nikon to have revenue coming in. If they have money coming in, they have money for R&D, right? So I don't care where they're getting the money from. If it's a product that I don't want to buy, then that's my choice. But I hope it does really, really well, because it benefits everybody in the Nikon universe, because it gives them more money for R&D. So I'm not going to complain.
Like, I waited 9 months to get my 800 PF.
Yeah, that was painful.
Oh yeah, but for I'm like you, Gustavo. Some of my projects, I think about them a year in advance of what it is that I want to do. So to make sure I get the equipment for it.
Yeah, I'm going to show you something on the 800.
Where's your dog, Gustavo? Where's your doggy?
He's got a cat too.
Yeah, they're on strike tonight. They're not in the view of the camera.
Yeah, and you notice he changed his camera angle so he can't see the deer.
Yeah. Wait a minute. What about, little. Hey, Gonzalo, is you got any snow?
Sorry, Chuck.
Oh yeah, he said he had to say, Chuck. He was saying last week. I think he had to shovel over 2 feet of snow in his driveway. Right?
Oh, for sure. It was bad, but so I'm.
Was this horizontally or vertically the 2 feet of snow?
I can tell you, it was 2 feet. The median was 2 feet of snow. In the little dip into I couldn't drive with the Jeep. Correct. I drive a Rubicon, so my Rubicon last time it was that much got high sided. So I learned my lesson. If it doesn't have the clearance, I cannot ram it with the Jeep. So now what I was going to show you is this, because thanks to Mr. Ishii, I ended buying another bag, right, of the think tank. So I would call that the Ishii bag, right?
The issue bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, but which is good. I like because I have the Airport Express or something which has 2 wheels, correct? But that other airport is a little bit smaller but have 4 wheels, and 4 wheels is a heck of a lot better to travel, correct? But in order to get the 800 in that one will not fit the 800 with the camera. Actually, will not fit the 800 with the it can fit the 800 with the hood, but not with the cover. Correct. So I ended buying, and actually arrived today,
One of those things.
a lens cap.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure that this is. I think you. Am I okay or is?
You're okay. Yeah.
We can't read what it says,
And,
but
yeah, I can words
think
upside down.
I
I
have
think.
to mirror. Let me just. Let me try. No.
upside down.
It's upside down.
Okay.
Rotate it.
So it was
Mirror is
switched.
on.
No, it was mirrored before.
It was mirrored before.
Exactly.
No, it's mirrored now.
Yeah. Now.
Anyway,
now-
just read it, Gustavo.
There
I
you go.
Oh, okay. Luminous cow.
Luminous.com.
Yeah.
So that's actually from, yes, it's like the same Semling or Semling, but this was the one that is in B&H. Semling you had to buy directly, correct? So this was from B&H.
Yeah.
Too expensive for what it is, right? But it definitely it helped me to pack on that on that bag which has 4
Yeah.
wheels.
Hey, you know what you do in a pinch, Gustavo?
Yeah.
You do in a pinch is you just cut off an old sock and you pull an old sock over it. I'm not kidding you. I mean, that's
No. Of course,
I mean, you get creative sometimes. You gotta find an old pair of socks and sacrifice them.
And you will be surprised sometimes. Stuff like lead for certain like Tupperware and stuff like that. Sometimes you fix the camera, correct? But
Yeah.
So I show you next week. I bought a bunch of new little accessories for the tripod, and I like to optimize my tripod. And then I say, okay, let me order this one because I think these need to go into that bag, right? It's an optimization process.
Well, what's that? I thought there was that saying though: if it doesn't fit, force it.
It's typical construction thing. If it ain't broke, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. The for those who probably already noticed the statement that the ZF, you can now get the indigo blue and the sunset orange. You can actually order them from B&H now. You remember all the colors other than black you could not get from the camera stores when these cameras came out, but now they're going to be selling the indigo blue and the sunset orange through B&H. And for those of you that purchase through Adorama, they're offering up to 5 times bonus points on all purchases through December 25th. So if you are a member of however their system works for points, if you're involved with that and you're going to buy some gear, you're going to get a lot of extra points if you choose to buy stuff before Christmas.
Because those color cameras were only available through Nikon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now Nikon rumors, as I said earlier, I think I touched on it. They're thinking the P1000 replacement still upcoming, as well as what's now becoming in a way a laughing stock because it was the last lens that was on the original roadmap. The 35 millimeter f1.2 S lens is still something that they're bringing up. And then for the first time, they made a comment talking about a potential Z9 replacement, aka Z9 II in 2025. And then they stated too early for reliable rumors on that particular rumor, however, but they did. I guess they're hearing about it, a little bit. So they threw a little teaser in there on Nikon rumors about a potential Z9 replacement in Z9 II in 2025. No discussion on a Z5 or Z7 II replacement, however. And I'm just kind of wondering we know they did the development announcement and they have pictures on Nikon rumors and they have like a 10-second video at best. It's very, very short of the new Z28 to 135 f4 PZ lens that's been announced. Sony has had a lens of the same focal length and aperture for a while that sells for $2,500 at their end. So we never really were given a price point on this future lens, and we really don't know for sure. There's pictures that you can see on Nikon rumors of it. It has some pretty good heft to it. It's a pretty large lens. So they have a handful of images if you want to see what that 28 to 135 for PZ lens looks like. Zoom out, and they have a very, very short video, which is kind of semi-useless because it's so short. But they do have that on Nikon rumors if you want to look at it. But I'm just curious, like when it'll actually be released. Within 6 months or I would like to think within 6 months, not longer than that.
No, true.
And the Astra Hori now has an autofocus 27 millimeter f2.8 lens for the Z mount, available in titanium color or black for $126. $126. And I guess at a trade show that's going on now, they have new Z9 firmware showed up in the menu system on a Z9 at a trade show, version 5.10. Some expected changes are a new shutter angle for video, and shutter angle is something that I didn't really know a lot about, so I decided to look up what shutter angle is, and I will share it with you. And the more I read about it, the more I scratched my head and got rid of the last few hairs that I had on top. But they're saying the term shutter angle comes from film cameras. That's where that term comes from, film cinema cameras. And it describes a relationship between a camera's shutter speed and your video frame rate. And a larger shutter angle or longer shutter speeds will result in more motion blur. A smaller shutter angle or a shorter shutter speed results in less motion blur. So they're saying, as we've talked about before, the general rule of thumb now when shooting video on our cameras is to have your shutter speed double the value of your frame rate. So if you're shooting at 30 frames per second, you want to make sure that your shutter speed is 1/60th of a second.
Okay.
So now in film cameras, the standard, what they call shutter angle, is 122.8 degrees. And on digital cameras, which you're now using your electronic shutter, the shutter angle is adjusted in software because it's not a mechanical shutter. So, it's different design.
But that's a 180, correct?
And they're saying a shutter angle of 360 degrees will create a streaky blur when a character moves. And if you were able to select a shutter angle of 45 degrees, you'll have a sharper, crisper, stuttering type of image on your video. So it adds another layer of complexity that simple-minded folks like me are probably not going to fool around with. But if they get into this shutter angle stuff, it'll just be another layer of learning for all of us. Let's put it that way. I got more information on it, but I'm not going to read it all because you'll go to bed going like.
But what it shows is the importance they are giving to video, correct?
Yes, it's video. It's video, yeah. And supposedly this new firmware is going to add additional control options for power zoom lenses, like rotating different angles and direction changes and stuff like that. But I'm wondering where it had to have been three or more months ago when Nikon Rumors was saying that the Z9 II was going to get a firmware update for improved autofocus features once again, and we've never seen it. So it's interesting how that is not being discussed on their website anymore, because that's what they thought was going to happen, and obviously it has not happened.
It sounds like that with the number of cameras that Nikon has out at the moment, they're having trouble keeping up with the firmware to make it all match between all the different models. So they could be having a staffing problem too.
Now, Artralab, you guys know I bought their no Nikkor lens not too long ago, and I really haven't had the opportunity to use it much. They announced another lens, and I did a typo here. I think it's an 11 millimeter f1.8 APS-C lens for $330, and I just took a handful of shots. I went to Brook Green Gardens, and I just wanted to fool around with it. I had my Z9 with the 800 on it because sometimes there's owls in there, so I wanted to have my long glass with me in case we saw an owl, which we did not. And then I figured, I'll slap on that manual focus lens and see how that works. And I'll just share a few images, and none of them are going to blow anybody away by any means. I only got like 5 images, and I'll share them here. So, and these are all shot wide open at f1.2. I didn't stop the lens down at all. I was just saying, I want to just see how it looks at f1.2. So I have a lot more experimenting to do with this lens. I love the build quality of it. I kind of wish that the aperture ring, it's a very subtle click stop. It's very quiet. It's very subtle. And let's say the grippiness of adjusting the aperture, I wish it was a little bit more aggressive. I wish it was like raised a little bit more and more easier for your hand to find it because it's really close to the body of the camera. You know, I do like how it's performing. I'm just going to throw up a few pictures here. These were. Let me see here if I. This is just a parking area that goes into where they have they have a small zoo, and so this was wide open at f1.2.
Okay.
ISO 100. Okay, so I wanted to have a low ISO, so I shot this thing at like I said, f1.2 at ISO 100.
What's the focal length, Jeff?
50 millimeter.
50. Okay.
Yeah. And so that's the first one. Be honest with you, I had trouble figuring out where I was focusing on in this image, actually. And here's a blown shot, and here's where, like I said, I'm not the focus peaking. See, I'm used to really the old school manual focus lenses, you know, and back in the day when you had, you know, the split prism and the micro prism collar and all that kind of stuff, and I always focused real good with those. And focus peaking for me is something that I never used a lot, so I'm getting used to using focus peaking. But on this next shot, that'll come up in a minute. My computer's sitting here looking for it. Once this pops up, we'll talk about this next shot. So this was a blown shot. This was one that did not work out because I didn't do a lot of chimping. I only took a handful of images, and so here's an image that's totally useless. Okay, I was focusing on this vertical shrub and wide open at 1.2, and it's not sharp. Even though with the focus peaking, I used the color red. The whole thing was red.
Okay.
But it was not sharp. But then again, I think my shutter speed was really low too. So I don't know if it was a movement problem, but I don't think it was a movement problem because these edges of the cement, you know, it's out of focus, obviously being f1.2, but it's not out of focus due to movement. You know.
So Jeff, and the camera is communicating the information for the focus peaking? Or?
Yeah, you see the focus peaking, but you know, it's the thing is, it's like, you know, when you have a bush like this, it's not like you got different parts of the shrub that stick out a little bit farther, and 1.2 is so shallow, and you know, you get all the red dots for focus peaking, and it's like, I think just because it's all red, I don't know that it can distinguish between, say, something that's sticking out a quarter of an inch farther than something else. You know what I'm saying?
So how far were you from that tree?
Oh, I was probably, I'm guessing 15, 20 feet away, something like that. So this was a failure. This was one that failed.
Yeah.
So then now you can see in the background there's a statue here.
Yeah.
In the background. So that's what I went for on the next shot.
Okay.
And yeah, that's clear.
Now here, no problem. I nailed it. Okay. And none of these images had any sharpening done to them. And these were shot with the ZF, by the way. Ava's asking. I mean, I wish, and Mozman's saying they should mimic split prism. I wish they would mimic the split prism. I love the split prism. That was like fantastic. I don't really like the new way that much. I like the old way. But anyway, here I nailed it. The statue is sharp. I'll zoom in on it a little bit here so that you can see.
Now that's focus.
Okay, so here I nailed it, and there's no doubt about that. And this was at 1.2. I didn't do any sharpening on any of these images. I did do some adjustments to highlights and shadows because it was a very mixed lighting situation. So I did do some tweaking with that, but I did not do any sharpening.
Okay.
So I mean, I like how that came out. Then I went for.
So Jeff, I don't know. For me, I want obviously for wildlife, it was a little bit more difficult. But sometimes using the focus picking, I learned that sometimes you have to run it through completely, back and forth, because sometimes it shows some red, but it's not the optimal portion, correct? So you need to
Well, I'll be
go.
honest with you. If I wasn't shooting it at f1.2, if I was shooting it at f4, it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just wanted to shoot everything wide open and just see what would happen.
Of course, you tested the lens.
So it was an experiment. So this is an experiment too with the steer. I took a few steer pictures.
A Texas Longhorn.
Yep.
Yeah, this is 200%. This is a 200% zoom. 200%.
Okay.
That ain't bad.
No.
That ain't bad. Then.
So were you wearing a red coat at the time?
I had a funny looking costume on. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, considering that's a bull.
Yeah, I had a funny looking costume on. But I'll just show like 3 more here. Just taking my computer's taking its time.
But it must drive you crazy, correct? That sometimes you get so in focus and so that are not in focus.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm personally not used to focus peaking. I'm used to old manual focus technology on old SLR cameras, and I like them. I like the micro prisms. I like the split prism.
But remember, Jeff, this focus picking is better than when we have manual focus in the DSLR. Remember when there was that little green light with the arrows on the side?
A light that would light up red when it was in focus.
Exactly, that was horrible.
But I'm not a huge fan of focus peak. I mean, hey, if I have a 80% hit rate and it's manual focusing and I'm shooting wide open, I don't think I'm going to complain too much. I just have to realize that I might have to, check. And I'm not taking, and obviously any manual focus lens I'm going to use, if I'm using it in manual focus, I'm not taking, as David says, I'm not doing pop, pop, pop type of pictures. I'm taking a picture where I could take the shot and I could chimp and look at it, zoom in on it and say, no, doesn't look, it's not as good as I want it to be. I'm going to take it again.
Yeah.
If I'm taking pictures of something that, that basically, that I want to, that I want to make sure I get, because it's moving fast or something like that, I'm not going to be using manual focus anyway. So.
You probably want to use live view and zoom in.
Well, I could just hit the middle button on my keypad there, and it'll zoom right in for me too. So.
Well, I mean, on your camera.
I think this was the bull that got the guy on Everybody Loves Raymond. That gored him in the behind.
Yes, but that looked good.
yeah, that looked good. And I'm just going to show, let's see, I'm going to show two more.
I like the bull of the Blazing Saddles. That one, that guy that hit the bull.
Oh, yeah. Alex Karras,
Yeah,
ex-football player, punched it, knocked it down.
exactly.
Yeah. But, so far, I'm happy with the lens so far. I got a lot more fooling around to do with it. I like I said, I haven't really done any stopping down pictures with it yet. And this is another case, shooting wide open, and it came out good. The dog here, the dog's sculpture is nice and sharp. And because the wolf was not on the same plane of focus, and I'm at 1.2, slightly soft around the head. But that's what I was looking for. I want to learn how this lens, what you get with it, under certain conditions, So,
But you can see, Jeff, interesting enough, that background with the tree looks more focused, although you focus than the wolf.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's weird. And you can see the grass also. I mean, the dog is focused. It looks like it's a little bit
A little bit soft.
back focus. Okay.
And but it's so you got to learn the characteristics of the lens, and that's what I'm trying to do. And like I said, I'm starting off with the
That dog seems to be focused all through.
yeah. And so my last one was a shooting some birds that were in a cage, and the lighting wasn't very good. So I had to change my angle and kind of cut off these out. You're going to see in a second. I'm echoing here. Give me a second here. Come on, load up. Come on. Okay, so this is a we will zoom in on this. So I'm shooting this through a caged area.
Okay.
This is a 200% zoom on these owls, and of course, at shooting at f1.2 wide open, you don't see the wire in the foreground because that's totally wiped out. At 1.2, it's there's nothing there for it to focus on, so that goes away. So you're seeing the enclosure, the fence behind the enclosure, and the owl looks good.
Yes.
I was focusing on the owl. The owl looks good, and like I said, I don't normally zoom to 200% anyway. I usually look at everything at 100. To me, if it looks good at 100, that's going to be good enough for me. But I just to show being a little more anal here, I'm showing it at 200%. But so I'm happy with it. It's just that I got to get used to it some more, and I got to fool around with it regarding the using it now. Shoot it at f4, shoot it at f8, shoot it at whatever, f12, and fool around with it some more. And but it definitely has some interesting characteristics.
But certainly looks sharp enough. I mean, look good image quality, 200%. Right? You can see a lot of detail in that barn owl.
And the lens was I don't remember less than $400 from what I recall. So I'm not complaining about it. But like I said, any lens I'm going to use in manual focus mode is going to be of something that I can take my time with and work with and take multiple shots if I have to take multiple shots. Otherwise, I want an autofocus lens if I got to do something, get something quick, you know. Jeff and Leslie are taking off. Thanks for stopping by.
So time to remind everybody, because we only have how many weeks? 2 weeks before the next photo review. 2.5
weeks. We've only got 17 images right now for the photo review, and I'll put up the reminder regarding that. So the photo review is going to be on December 7th. So get your images to me before 12 p.m. Eastern time on December 6th, which was obviously Friday. And let's start sending them in so I don't get them all. Usually I probably get 70% of the images the last 2 days. If you can be kind enough to start sending them to me now, so I'm not doing them all in the last 2 days, that would be appreciated.
Chuck is in the green room.
Chuck is in the green room. Okay. Now he's back. He's back. So yeah, get your pictures into me for the next photo review in December, and we will also be doing one in January as well. Let's see. Let me get out of. I want to turn this thing off. Turn that guy off. Okay. Go back to the chat. So anyway, I just wanted to share a little bit about that lens. But it seems like the quality of the lens is very well made. It's all metal. And so far I like it, but like I said, I'm not a big manual lens user in terms of the modern technology manual focus lenses. I'm old school manual focus lenses. So, is Roy popping it? Roy?
No. He just emailed me back.
Oh, okay.
What happened?
Yeah. Okay.
He's okay.
Nurse didn't show up to help with the wife. Let's see what else we got popping up here. The Mikey 85 millimeter 1.8 full frame autofocus lens is available at $339. And I guess a reader contacted Viltrox to find out if the new 135 millimeter f1.8 lab lens, which I think came out recently or came out for the Sony E mount, whether it was going to be available for the Nikon Z mount. And the response was Viltrox currently does not have any plans for this 135 millimeter f1.8 lab lens to come out for the Z mount, at least not right now anyway.
But we can get an adapter, can't we? For use the Sony glass?
Yeah. I try to avoid all these adapters. I got too much crap in the bag as it is.
Exactly.
Ava's taking off. Hey, Ava, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. And
before Ava go, let me share one photo here to encourage everybody to send the photo. So this is not the one that I'm going to share for the next photo review, but
boom. Oh, you're just monkeying around.
Exactly. So I did go to try. So where the snow monkeys were, the park was they were not close to the pools. So but in another place in Kyoto, the snow monkeys were showing, or Japanese macaque. So I managed to get my fix on the monkeys.
On the monkeys.
Yeah. Actually, this photo took a little. It was a little bit difficult the processing because of the backlight. But
Yeah.
I hate with this thing, Jeff. That
Yeah, I know. I agree.
yeah.
Well, you
And-
know what's tough depending on the fur of the animal, and of course, the darker the fur, the harder it is for your camera to focus on it. You know, like you're focusing on a black bear. Sometimes it's really, really hard.
exactly.
You don't have like you got different tones here. You got a little bit of a light area and a darker area, and you got the pink on the face, and that helps and everything. But when you have something that's like, if you're like taking a picture of a black lab or anything that's totally black, the camera definitely has more trouble
Yeah,
focusing.
and the auto white balance. You see this area? I don't know if you see my cursor, but
Yeah,
that area where the cursor is was giving me a kind of too much blue on the green, which is the mountain that is the other side of the valley. Correct. So uh, white balance can be tricky. But so next in the next photo review, I show another of these snow monkeys, which was one of the things that I wanted to photograph in this trip.
yeah. I was wondering if you were going to get to the hot springs where they all
I
play.
went to a city nearby, but then when I was there, I did some of the research. So it's about 2 kilometers. Actually, to get to this place, it's also uphill. It was like 160-meter climb through a trail. So I did my exercising to get these photos. But the 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 snow monkey place where they have the pools, they don't come to those pools until a little bit later when it started getting colder. But I managed to get them. So anyway, I
Mhm.
cannot avoid, even on a travel. So I need to do some wildlife. So this was done with a 100 to, I say 4,000. I have to fix that to 400. I wish it was 4,000 at 400 millimeter.
Gustavo's correcting my statement that I made. That was that what they put on Nikon Rumors that person communicated through the web chat, and he said further communication revealed that it's still on the books for that 135 lab lens to apparently be available in the Z mount. So that information that was in there was not correct. Was not correct. Um, Thank you for that information. The last week we talked about Nikon coming out what they call their R-Crest filters, which is like just a clear protective filter to put on your camera lenses. Like if you're truck and you're doing motorsports and the mud is flinging at your camera, or if you're on the beach and you don't want to get salt spray all over your nice new lens, uh, you want to have some kind of filter on your camera. So they also have a Crest 2 Gold Edition filters that has a gold ring around it, so you'll have a gold ring on the end of all your Nikon cameras if you tell everybody that that's a special lens and it costs $10,000 more and you can impress your friends. But those gold filters are only available in Japan right now with limited thread sizes. But their verbiage about these filters is they say they're crafted obviously by Nikon, utilizing high performance glass, protect your Nikon lenses, as the filters are designed with a 0-1 AR coating for ultra low reflections and easy cleaning of water or oil residue. Anti-static coating reduces the adhesion of dust and dirt onto the filter surface. So says the R-Crest 2 high performance protection filters preserve as much of the lens's imaging power as possible, improving optical performance with attention to detail in every area. So Obviously, they just attach to your filter thread as normal. And here's the sizes that they have with the non-gold edition ones. As they have, I'll just rattle through them real quick. They got this is all in millimeters: 46, 52, 58, 62, 67, 72, 77, 82, and 95. So those are all the choices for filter threads for those. And just so you get an idea of the price differences, the 46 millimeter filter, which is the smallest one, would cost you basically round up to $50, and the 95 millimeter one would be $180 rounded up. So there's your there's your price differential from the smallest filter to the largest filter. $50 up to $180.
So that would, do you compare that with the similar size on a clear filter from third party manufacturer?
Well, I mean, I have magnetic filters that I use a clear filter
Yeah.
on lots of times, um, and I haven't had any problems with them. But I think I would only know if I compared them side by side. You know, it's I'm happy with the filters that I use, but
Yeah.
I can't say they're better than what these would do or worse. I don't know. I know I'm happy with them.
Because you said that they have a 95 millimeter,
They have a 95 millimeter. Yeah.
and that's $180.
Yeah. Yeah. 179.95.
Okay, that doesn't for a, if they are. I mean, consider that these are Nikon, make $180 for a 95.
For them, that's cheap.
Exactly.
But of course, it's not doing anything. I mean, it's not like it's a polarizer or an
Exactly.
ND filter or whatever, where they're going to mark it up a lot more. But yeah, I mean, those filters might be something that people are interested in.
Yeah, because 95 millimeter covered all the way to the C6, the 600 PF, right?
Yeah,
And the 180 to 600.
100. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's a good selection there.
yeah. The so that was all that I saw on Nikon rumors that was worth talking about. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool to get if somebody does. Let's put it this way: if somebody gets one of those filters, please let us know what you think of it. If you buy one and try it out, let us know how you feel about it. Is it worth the money to you?
So Mossman is saying about the price of a Sahoya HD3 filter.
Okay. And this is true too. Is you buy them once. You only need to buy them once if you buy the good ones.
I still believe that the hood is the best protection, Chris. For sure. I tell you, when I was in Japan in one of the temple, I'm clumsy as I am. I missed one step, so I fell down with camera in hand, and I was having the 24 to 120, and I managed to scratch a little bit the lens hood. So the lens hood,
Pedals on the lens hood.
yeah, it kind of I always fall down in kind of slow motion. You miss something and then and then you try to save yourself on the camera.
Well,
I
for
got a
me,
scratch on my knee.
for
Actually,
me, if I fall down in slow motion, but I get up in super slow motion,
that's true.
the getting up part is the hard part, and my knees definitely getting really bad because I was joking with my wife. I don't know if you guys seen these silly commercials where they have this little they show people like watching TV and they got this little thing to pedal, to
Yes.
keep their blood flow going in their legs. They go, yeah, buy this little device. They don't tell you how much it costs, and it's just like this little mechanism with pedals on it, like a bicycle, and the people are just sitting there pedaling. So as a joke, one day I lifted my feet off the floor and I was pretending I was pedaling. and my right knee started hurting me like crazy.
Oh my God.
I'm just pretending to pedal with moving my legs, and my right knee was like in extreme pain. And I'm like, oh great, it's coming to the end of its useful life, I guess, my knee. So I'm not looking forward to what the future may bring for my
Yeah.
knee.
So indeed, Tim, I got a battle scar on the. It doesn't look bad in the hood, but I also got a battle scar on my knee. Locally, I felt kind of sideways, so I felt like I was already, back into when I was a child. And you have scabs in your knees.
Now from the other brands out there, as we kind of talked about earlier, the Sony A1. So there's on Sony Rumors. Now Sony Rumors is saying this, not me. Sony Rumors is saying that the A1 II is expected by November 19th, and they expect it to start shipping in early December. And then they have a video on their website titled "Why You Should Still Get the A7S III in 2024." So if some of you are interested in knowing why you might be interested in getting an A7S III in 2024, they have a little video on their website. And I guess they were shocked that B&H Photo is already promoting A1 II pre-orders. They already have a pre-order page for the A1 II, even though it's not coming out.
Mm.
Well, announced on the 19th, shipping in December, but they already have a pre-order page. What they said is that's really unusual for them to have a pre-order page that early. Now, the rumored specs, which they only list you a few, same 50 megapixel sensor as the A1. They'll have pre-capture mode. They don't say when they say pre-capture whether it's RAW or JPEG. 3.2 inch vari-angle screen, 8 stops of stabilization. The A1 right now has 5.5, so this one's going to have 8 stops of stabilization. Still going to do 30 frames per second, 8K 30p, and it's going to have an AI chip, which allows to have all the A9 III goodies like accurate subject recognition, improved autofocus, and so forth. That'll get migrated into the A1 Mark II. And they are not sure. They're saying the new CFE Type A cards, 4.0 versions for faster buffering. They're saying that's not yet 100% confirmed whether it's going to use those cards or not. And like I said, the price was $7,499, 7,499 euros, which converted to US dollars is $7,940.49. So I just say, okay, good for you. They're advertising that you can get up to 28% off Angel Bird AV Pro CFE-A cards for those of you that have the Sony gear and that you have the CFE-A cards. The 160 gig is selling for $129.99, regularly $179.99, but you only get 9% off a 330 gigabyte card. You can get for $229. But they do have, just like everybody's got their sales on their cameras now, whether it be Canon, Sony, Nikon. So they have a whole list on the Sony Alpha Rumors website of all the holiday deals on Sony products right now. So if you're a Sony user and you want to see what's on sale, it's actually quicker to get that information from these websites than looking up every single thing on a store's website, because you'll get everything in front of you here on these on Sony Rumors or Nikon Rumors or whatever, and then the whole thing is listed, and then you just go to the dealer of your choice that you want to buy from if you want to buy something. An interesting thing was Sony reported they had flat sales in the last quarter, and they say they're moving to a more cautious production and inventory plan. How do you want to take that? The Tamron 90 millimeter f2.8 Di3 VXD macro lens for the Sony E mount was reviewed by Petapixels, and that review is now available on Sony Alpha Rumors, and that lens sells for $699, and supposedly it's an extremely good macro lens. And let's see.
Yo man's land.
Saying hi. Is he hiding out here? Yep, Joey's here. Let's bring in Joe. I'll have to shrink everybody, unfortunately, to fit everybody in now.
I have to ruin everything.
Dylan.
Good, how you guys doing?
So what were you out for, a fancy dinner again?
Yeah. Just
I told you guys he was out eating.
yeah, I love good food. What can I say? I mean, yeah, it's good. How you guys doing?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. So what kind of restaurant did you go to?
French food. I'm not
French?
much for the. Yeah, I went out for some French food. Hold on, I'm just gonna fix my light here. Yeah, it was good. Just had a little steak frites, and yeah, it was good. The guy who was the server was very kind and was aggressively French, and I couldn't understand anything he said, but he was really friendly, so that was nice.
Hey, as long as it goes down good, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Full screen. What am I gonna do with all this power?
I was gonna try to talk you into beating on those drums behind you.
Yeah, oh man, I'm such a bad drummer. It's like, oh, it's so bad. But yeah, so what is the subject matter tonight, guys? What are we diving into?
Well, we talked a little bit about everything, and we talked about what we're going to be doing next year with the stream. We're going to have photo review still the first Saturday of every month. Through my streaming service and through my channel, and then we're going to have Chuck doing AP Studios Chuck Talks for the rest of the Saturday nights in a given month. So we welcome Chuck back and wish him well, and want to motivate people to make sure they migrate over there when he starts doing the show on the second Saturday in January of next year. And I think it'll be it'll be fun. Everybody's going to have a good time, and hopefully people are the world is not ending now, and everybody's more relaxed and know what's going on, and that's a good thing. We wanted to try to have a meeting to talk about everything as soon as we could, and get things discussed and ironed out, so that everybody in the chat here would know what's going on and calm some nerves. That shouldn't have gotten ruffled to begin with, but now they're not ruffled anymore. So.
And Joy and David, I think I remember there was this French restaurant between Canmore and Banff, Chef something French. That actually is quite good. The last time I was there, they have fantastic breakfast. I think it's closer to Canmore than Banff. But if you have a chat, if you go there earlier, the breakfast was fantastic. Last time we were on vacation in that area, we had several breakfasts on that place.
Just look up Chef something. You'll find
That's great.
my memory is. I mean, it's in the highway, correct? You see it from the highway.
And that's just it. There's only so many French restaurants here in Banff, so by process of elimination, we should be able to find it. No, that's great, Gustavo. I mean,
Yeah.
I like
don't
your
think
food.
I
What
want
can I
Gustavo
say?
giving me directions on how to get anywhere.
Well, actually, Joey, it's more simple than that, because once you hit the park gate, there's nothing between there and Banff, so we don't have to look there.
Yeah.
And the only thing between here and Canmore's is a Smitty's.
I check it out, guys, because it really, my wife and I really enjoyed that one. And the other thing, Joy, that I was going to suggest, you haven't shown us the the wedding pictures.
Wedding photos, yeah.
You should
That way we can criticize. We can criticize another photographer.
photo review too. You know,
yeah. I've only got
if your
few
spouse
handy.
doesn't mind sharing them, we don't want to get
Yeah,
in trouble
I've got a
either.
couple here. I can here. Can I share my screen for a sec? Is that cool?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
awesome. I'm just gonna share the ones on my Instagram here because honestly, I don't even know where all the other ones are. So we'll just share what I got handy here. Are you guys able to see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was day one. This was the pre-wedding luncheon vibe at the golf club, which was fun. Got to rock the blue power suit as one does, and then
You're gonna go work for IBM now, right?
yeah, exactly. That's my career goal in life is to work for IBM. Right? The creativity of working for a home energy provider is already so riveting. I have to go to IBM banking services, tech would be great. This was the day of. This was just sort of our, my hand there, mother-in-law, wife in the middle sort of vibe. And then this was me trying to look pensive and interesting on the day of. So in the Indian culture, this outfit is called a sherwani. So we did a Hindu ceremony. So I got this fancy get up for that. It was basically just a giant tunic, which was very comfortable. And then, yeah, this was the ceremony itself. So I got mom on the right side there. That's my wife's brother right there. And then there's wife. And then this guy here, he's the priest. So he was kind of doing a service in Bengali and then English as well. So that way then everyone could kind of get a good understanding of what was going down. And then this is the family photo. As I'm sure you can tell by the grumpy look on my face, I hadn't eaten yet. So I was thinking, where's the food? I need this now. And then same thing here. I'm like, great.
You look like you're scared of the photographer in that picture, Joe.
Yeah, dude, the photographer was intense, man. Like she was a Canon shooter, which is totally fine. Totally fine. She was using the
That's why you got shook up. That's why you got shook up. Cannon shooter.
Yeah, well, no, she was too good at her job. Like she wanted to take way too many photos, and it was like, whoa, please, no more. But no, she did a good job. She did a really good job. We ended up with about 300 photos once everything was said and done. Yeah, no, she did a great job. And this is just the reception space, and then that's just again me trying to look cool. And yeah, that was.
You look a little bit scared, that one.
I was.
You're not supposed to look that nervous, Joe.
I was nervous. I mean, most beautiful woman I know, best woman in my life. Obviously there's a little tenseness going into it, right? You're like, please say yes, don't change your mind, do the right thing. I'm just kidding, but no, it was good. And then honestly, life since then it's been great, but it's been a lot busier just with work and family and all that kind of stuff. And I've kind of changed the direction of my creativity in terms of what I want to do. The channel's going to go on, but not as much as before. I've got a new project I'm kind of starting to put some energy into, and that will be coming shortly, but still trying to build it up and get it all planned out. So.
That's good. I mean, thanks for sharing those. And if you have any more deer in the headlight shots you want to share for the photo review,
yeah, I'm sure I can find a couple of those. Yeah, well, so that's going to be the fun thing actually. So the last video I posted on my channel was that guitar interview one. And honestly, out of all the content I shot for the last year, that was the most fun I had because I was just doing it for myself. Like I was like, all right, this is going to get a solid 80 views, but I don't care. It's going to be so much fun to do. And actually, it was ironic when I was at the shoot, the fellow who was the subject, he kept saying to me, he's like, oh man, you just love storytelling. Like that's your vibe. And I was like, yeah, I said like, that's what I enjoy shooting. I like telling stories. I like just being creative. I still like talking about the gear every now and then, but sometimes I just like to be creative and not feel like I have to be like, yeah, this lens is blah. Like, I don't know. Sometimes for me, at least, I get too kind of caught up in that. And then kind of the creative aspect of it can kind of go out the window. So the new project, which will be coming soon-ish, once I kind of get a couple stories told, is going to be basically just a nonprofit storytelling platform. So basically, we're just going to share stories from people. I'm going to start with Calgary just because that's where I am, but we're going to open it up to creators. So if other creators want to volunteer their time the same way I'm going to, they can shoot a person in their community. But the big caveat of it is you can't sell anything, and there can be zero political agenda or belief you're trying to impose on someone. It can only be an inspirational story. It could be anything from, a love story from a couple meeting on a boat 30 years ago to someone that maybe overcame addiction. It can literally be anything, and I really want it to be a variance that way. Like, I don't want to share like an incredible, like one of my friends who might be on agreeing to do it. He's a Paralympian, has a very amazing story. We're not going to start with that because I don't want people to feel like, oh, that's kind of overwhelming. Like, I don't feel like my story is at that level of intensity. And it's like, no, everyone's story is equal, right? Everyone's story is great. We'll tell them each the same way, right?
Yeah.
And we'll vary it where we'll go something a little bit more intense, something a bit lighter, and we'll try to vary it that way week over week, or as much content as we're able to get. So that way then it is balanced and people feel like they can submit their stories and participate and do it in a way that's inclusive and not like sort of scary, right? We want people to feel like, yeah, they can do it. So that's the next thing that's coming. I don't have any stories yet, but I will soon.
Buzzman has a suggestion for you that I'll put up.
You should use those facial expressions as thumbnails. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, wait, hold on. There's got to be a piece of kit sitting around here somewhere. We got to like do this properly. Hold on. Oh, there's the Lumix. Hold on. If we're gonna do a thumbnail gimmick, we have to do the thumbnail gimmick. All right. So here we got the 50 mil variable ND on it. Here we go.
There you go.
I don't know. No, but that's good. No, and it's not that I'm like tired of doing gear reviews. I'm not. Like I think I just you do get to a point sometimes where your viewership does go down, and you're still doing the gear reviews, and I don't know. I just the motivation is still there, but I think I needed something to funnel the creativity into that I could just be creative, right? Like,
Well, you just do what you feel comfortable doing, and the chips fall where they fall. That's
well, yeah, and I think the whole, and also like what the audience is that you're building, right? Like my whole channel is based around gear reviews and stuff, which is great, and I love doing that still, and I'll keep doing that. Like when I see a product I think is super cool, great, put it on the channel. But I would love to start fresh with just creating for the sake of creating, and then that's it. There's no specific genre. There's no like, this is the type of story we tell. Nope, it could be anything. It could be a blacksmith tomorrow. It could literally be anything. And I think that in itself will kind of bring some of the fun back to it for me. And then I think in doing that, I'm going to probably get back into doing gear reviews at that point, because it'll be like, all right, cool. Like I've got a place for that type of video and a place for that type of video, and they won't necessarily coalesce in the same place.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that will, kind of get me reinvigorated. Gustavo, thank you. Chaz,
He after we picked on him that he was gonna look it up. You knew.
Yeah.
cool.
No, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, well, the thing I love about French restaurants is like if you ask for your meat anything more than medium rare, like if you ask like medium or medium well, they just look disgusted. They're like,
They run you out of the restaurant.
yeah, they will, exactly. But if you ask for it medium rare, then they're really nice to you. They're like, oh, yes, you want this? And you're like, oh my God, this is magical. I don't understand a word you're saying, but I am enjoying this. I feel fancy just listening to your French.
What I remember that was good when we ate several breakfasts there was my wife liked what's it called this poached eggs, but yeah, the egg selection and the omelets and everything was fantastic. So
Yeah, good eggs. It's like so simple yet beautiful. I think that's something I didn't used to appreciate about French food. Is it's very much about the ingredients and honoring the ingredients, not overcomplicating it. Just like if it's fresh and good, you don't need to add like a whole bunch of other things to it. So it's cool. Every cuisine has their sort of strength, and I'm still learning. I can't do the escargot. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
To those in the panel and those in the chat that are obsessed with eating snails, I cannot. I can't do it. Like I tried doing raw octopus once, and it jumped out of my mouth because it was still alive, and I was like, "Yeah, I can't do snails. Can't do anything slimy." Like,
Jeff loves those slimy things.
Jeff, you went to sashimi?
I had San Francisco Cioppino one time, and I like, when you have a good like fish stew. You got fish in it, and crab meat and shrimp and clams and stuff like that. But they in San Francisco they threw in octopus as well, and I tried it, and I tried it for about 5 milliseconds, and I spit it out because I felt like I was chewing a rubber. I felt like I was chewing a rubber band.
Texture of it.
And I don't like suction cups that start sticking to my tongue while I'm trying to eat. So I
Would
said,
you like a fight with your food, Jeff? It's just like clinging on to life. It's like, don't eat me, don't do it.
I'm trying to pull that out of my mouth. It was horrible.
Yeah, no, it's like I went to this. We were doing a YouTube video one time at this eel restaurant, and like I never had even considered that eel was a food that one would eat, but my mind was broadened apparently, and they cooked it. So I'm thinking, all right, well, it's a cooked eel. This can't be that bad. And yeah, it came right. It flew out. Like it flew out of my mouth as it made contact. It was like a backboard on a basketball net. It was just like boom. For me, it was the spine because it was all gelatiny, and I was like, why do people like this? I can't do it. I'm sorry. And actually, when I first moved to Korea the first time, it was about I don't know, I want to say like a 2 a.m. flight out of Calgary, and it was minus 30 outside, blizzard, the whole 9 yards. And I look at the weather in Seoul, and I'm like, okay, well, it's 8 degrees. Shorts weather. So went in a blizzard to the airport, got on in my shorts. Land. My boss looks at me like I'm insane because she's wearing a whole ski suit. And then they dropped me off at this hotel in the middle of the shipping district, which is by far the most dangerous place in all of Seoul. So off to a great start. So they dropped me off there, and I go down to the restaurant, and it's raining cats and dogs inside, so I really don't want to venture out too far. So we go down to the restaurant, and I downloaded English to Korean and Korean to English on Google Translate, but it was a Japanese menu. And I'm like, oh, wonderful. And there was no Wi-Fi. For whatever reason, the Wi-Fi was out. So I'm like, all right, well, these are basically hieroglyphs to me. Like I have no idea what I'm looking at. So I'm going through this menu and pretending to look like I'm well informed in Japanese cuisine. I love Japanese food, but I can't read Japanese. So I finally come to this thing, and I think this photo's lining up. I'm like, it looks like a salad. I don't like salad, but I guess I'll eat the food my food eats. Cool. So I order that. They bring it back out. It's a plate of raw octopus that's twisted like this. The cucaracha. It was dancing in front of me. And I looked at this plate, and I looked at the server, and I knew I screwed up. I said, hey, man, I'll pay for this because I should have known what it was, but I can't eat this. So pay the bill. I'm starving at this point. 17-hour flight. Like, I'm burnt out. It's also my birthday, ironically enough, so I'm already kind of sad because I don't know what he won. So I look outside, and I see this in this monsoon of rain. It lit up and made me so happy. It says Guinness Pub. Never have I been so happy to see Irish Molson in my life. I was like, I'm going there. So I go across the street. I'm sitting at the bar, and the menu's in English, and it's got like hamburgers and stuff. I'm like, I am so happy. The whole back wall opens like this. And there's a Yakuza game going on in the back. Guys just with tats and guns. And I'm like, well, can't stay here. So I go back over to the hotel, and at this point I'm just like, anything other than the raw octopus or the gangsters I will eat, even just a saltine cracker. So I go up to the front desk, and the lady says, what want? And I said, I want pizza. She said, oh, we have Domino's. And I'm like, that is the pizza of the gods. I will take it. And I made the mistake of ordering a normal pizza. That's what I said. Hey, just a normal pizza. Well, what's normal to me will not be normal to you, right? It's a very relative thing. So I get this pizza, and it's black because they've used squid ink in the dough, and it's covered in corn, which I'm allergic to. So I did 2 shots of Jack, cried a bit, and went to bed. That was it.
Not a good day.
So you had
No.
to get food out of a vending machine that
Yeah,
night.
well, at that point though, you hit rock bottom. So the only direction culinarily, it's not even a word, is up. It was like, okay, I
Now,
can do this.
if you guys visit that restaurant, there is during breakfast they do a type of sausage that actually is very good called merguez. Actually, is a sausage that is it's a French sausage, but they is inspired on some of the condiments from Algeria and Morocco. It's a spicy sausage, and it's fantastic. Called merguez, right? So if you ever go there, ask for that because it's really really good. Like
Yeah.
the
Oh,
best Italian. I type it up here for you guys because it's a very famous type of French breakfast sausage.
hmm. We got space people in the chat here saying an American who can only eat burgers and pizza. I'm actually Canadian, but I do. See, it's not that I don't appreciate the food. It's just I know I can't. It's just not my diet. But I respect people that love seafood. Like, and there's a lot of seafood I do like. Like a lot of red sashimi, white sashimi, love it. It's just I don't know. It's just the texture of some things I can't. Right, and but that's not to say they're not delicious foods.
So how do
I,
you manage
I
in Korea? What do you eat because Korea?
Oh, a lot of sashimi,
Ramen.
lot of sushi. Well, I mean, not there. It's not sushi. It's well, it's like sushi. It's called kimbap, so it's more of a larger pinwheel style, and then we've usually got some raw fish in the middle. I really
Yeah.
like that. I ate a lot of barbecue, a lot of kimchi as well. Really like that,
Okay.
like, and dakgalbi and things like that. So I think for me, like when I first got there, I hadn't experienced a lot of global cuisine. Right. And I think you are kind of a product of your environment, right? When you first start eating something, it's like it takes you a while to get used to different cultures and how they prepare things. And I would say, like, over the first year, it like blew doors open. I was like, because before I didn't eat sushi. Afterwards, I was addicted to sushi, right? So I think, as you get used to new things and new flavors, like you can kind of, yeah, you normalize more to what the locals eat, right? And I think,
Uh-huh.
when you're visiting somewhere, like when you're visiting as like a tourist, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But then when you're living somewhere, it's like, all right, no, like I got to get used to the way everyone's eating. Like I don't want to just go to McDonald's and do that all the time, right? Like
Yeah.
I need to figure out what's the healthy food that they cook here that like is going to be my vibe, like and you figure out what you can and can't, right? And it's not so much about being picky as it's just like what do you enjoy, right? You're going to find something you enjoy, right? And it's finding that and then not just sticking with that, right? Like you find that one thing, like for me it was this pork dish. It was sort of pork stir fry. It was called Jayap Pukum. And I learned that, and I learned how to say it. I'm like, all right, this is great. I'm gonna keep getting Jayap Pukum and all this stuff. And I was like, wait, no. I need to not just eat Jayap Pukum. I need to try other stuff. And then kimchi was something I didn't like originally. I was like, no, keep eating the kimchi. Get used to it. It's literally in everything. And then you're like, oh, okay, I like this now, right? And then coming back and Calgary, we're lucky. We have a lot of global cuisines here in the city that are really good, and actually among the freshest seafood in the country as well. Because all the planes that fly over with the fish for the restaurants, we're the
Hmm.
first stop, so we actually get some of the freshest seafood, ironically enough, out of most cities in Canada, right? So we're, if you're a big sushi fan, it's pretty darn good. So.
Oh, I didn't know
I thought
that.
you were going to say you get whatever falls off the airplane.
Yeah, that'd be good. Some choice grade fillets. I love choice grade. Cooking it, you're just like, if it tastes great, then I'm a god.
Yes.
I'm gonna shrink you down here.
Thank you. I ran out of material. That's good.
We only got a little bit more with for people who are into Fuji gear. Cine D, which most people have heard of. Cine D had a talk recently with the Fujifilm's manager Makoto San regarding the upcoming in development Fujifilm GFX Eterna cinema camera. So Fuji is coming out with a cinema camera. They've been working on it over 2 years. Video and still images of this camera you can view on Fuji Rumors right now. The development is not finished. The target is not only cinema, but in general, film, documentaries, etc. The sensor and the processor are the same of what's in the GFX 100 Mark II. The image quality will be basically the same as the GFX 100 II, but Fujifilm is making optimizations for filmmaking. They're going to add some more features on the Fujifilm GFX Eterna cinema camera that'll be over and above what's in the GFX 100 Mark II. Rolling shutter will be basically the same. They can't disclose details about internal recording codecs and resolutions yet. They're choosing not to release that information. It will have an internal neutral density filter and a control dial. It'll be 12-bit, and it'll have video performance that's basically the same as the GFX 100 II. So that's interesting that they're coming out with a cinema camera. It's going to be released in 2025. No pricing information yet. And they said if they could develop an X mount, if they would develop an X mount version, it would be a totally different, because the mount is totally different. So they're saying this is based on feedback from the market. Based on feedback from the market, Fujifilm could develop other specific film lenses and also some manual focus lenses. And they do have it's going to probably come out with this camera, a Fujinon GF 32 to 90 millimeter power zoom coming in 2025. There will also be a G to BL mount adapter for lenses that'll be made available to use on their camera, their cine camera as well. And for whatever reason, they reported about on a brand that isn't theirs, but some of these rumor channels do that. A Ryko GR4 is coming in the first quarter of 2025, and they're going to come out with a monochrome version at a later date. So you know how Leica has a monochrome camera, and now it seems like Ryko is going to eventually come out with a monochrome camera as well. And Fuji Rumors comments that they have long been asking for a monochrome X100 camera or X Pro camera, and sadly Fujifilm has not delivered so far, but he's happy to see other brands giving more options in this regard, so they don't have to go to they make a comment, so we do not have to go for the super expensive Leica offering. And then it talked about Fujifilm working their behinds off to ship as many X100 6s, version 6s as possible before this new Ryko GRV comes out. And they also they want to consider they also want to finally consider getting a monochrome camera before the other brands eat up too much of that market niche. So maybe Fujifilm will come out with a monochrome camera at some point as well. The few things from Canon rumors are, they mentioned this person by name. I don't know who this person is, but they said Brian at the Digital Picture is working through a review of the Canon RF 70-200 f2.8 LISUSMZ lens. He has added the test results and thinks this is the sharpest zoom that Canon has ever made. And he says, considering some of the gems of the Canon lineup, that's a very impressive claim. And so they compared the MTF charts on this lens against other lenses, and you can go to the Canon Rumors site to look at that information if you're interested. Let's see. They're saying that that with this lens, the lab tests are incredible, and it may be the sharpest interchangeable zoom lens ever, rivaling the Canon RF 100-300 f2.8 um, lens that's already out. And the EOS R1 and the 70 to 200 lens that we're just talking about is supposed to be shipping this week, which I believe it did show up on. I think some of the B&H Photo and some of the other retailers have said that you can now order that camera. And the RF 50 millimeter f1.4L VCM is now in short supply already. And they said 2025 for Fuji is they're going to be dealing with full frame as well as APS-C sensor cameras. Oh, I'm sorry, Canon. I say Fuji. Canon in 2025 is going to be coming out with more full frame cameras as well as APS-C cameras. And they said the next camera is likely the EOS R6 Mark III in the first quarter of 2025, perhaps ahead of CP Plus in February. So they may have another camera coming out. And the EOS R7 Mark II will be the first APS-C Canon camera with a stacked sensor. They have no info yet on the resolution, but they just say it would be cool to be higher above the current 32.5 megapixels so that it can shoot in 8K. This camera supposedly is going to be upmarket, so it may be a true EOS 7D Mark II successor. There will be 2 Pro RF-S lenses next year, and they'll cover the 35 millimeter equivalent of 24 to 200 millimeters. An RF-S prime lens is also planned for next year. Details to be determined. So Canon's got a lot of stuff going on, which they've already got a few new cameras out there now. They're going to have a few more cameras next year, including an APS-C camera. So I guess in that regard, it's a good thing that Nikon came out with an APS-C camera, because if they didn't, they basically could get blocked out of the market completely. So I mean, it's a good thing they did update the Z50 and how they did it. We can all find something that we wish they did a little different with it, but I think overall for the price point, one can't complain too much. But it's a good thing that they put their foot back, they dipped their toe back in the water again, because everybody else seems to be going full speed ahead with APS-C cameras. Canon has no fear of doing it, that's for sure, and that's all Fuji does. Other than their medium format stuff. So that's kind of about it in terms of the discussion of, what's going on out there with the different camera brands right now. We'll see, like I said, we'll see how long it takes that power zoom lens that Nikon announced to become a reality and be available for purchase. And we'll see if it's priced lower than the Sony offering, which I think I said was somewhere around $2,500 or $2,600, somewhere in that range.
So Jeff, did you see that video from Steve Perry about the ISO performance?
I got an email about it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
As usual, it's a good one, but I agree with the conclusion. But that's what I wanted to check on.
Why don't you just give a quick synopsis of
No,
what?
the usual discussion, and he managed to get give a good test, correct, on not only on the ISO performance, correct, but also on the processing, correct, DSX RAW 4, or what you can do in Adobe Lightroom. Basically, he's saying that, what we know, correct? It's better to have a sharp picture at whatever ISO than a blurry picture. That you can fix, correct? But he did mention that the performance changed dramatically around ISO 4000 for the Z8 and Z9, right? So provided you can stay below 4000, then you should be okay.
Well, I break that rule a lot, I hate to say.
Yeah. But what it's good. I think for us that do that have to use ISO, it's a good one. Correct? He didn't touch about exposing to the right and all that kind of stuff, but I agree with his conclusion. So it's a good video to watch. So I'm recommending it here.
Z Wade's popped in, so say hi to Z Wade. How you doing? We hope you're doing well.
Hi, Z Wade. Bye, Z Wade. I have to go now. Good night, guys.
So he shows up, Joey, and you're gonna run away, huh?
No, he's the young guy, so he's dropped to me in age. We're good to go. He doesn't have any hair, but we're doing what we can. Okay.
Ooh.
I know the picky eater is coming for pot
Better
shots.
watch out what you get in your mailbox next week.
I don't even have one because Canada Post is on strike. Yeah, nothing like Owen Postal. In the wise words of Newman, if you control the mail, you control information.
Control information.
100%. All right, good night, guys. Great seeing y'all.
Take it easy, Joe.
Good one, Joe.
Good evening, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll see you next week after. We'll see you next week after you have German food or something.
That's good. That's good. All right, guys. Good night.
Some good knockwurst and bratwurst in you.
I gotta go too, Jeffrey. So
Okay, Chuck. Have a good night.
see man. Hey man.
Yeah, see you next week, Chuck.
All right.
Take it easy. Good night to the kitty.
Yeah, he caused a mess. I think he spilled some water or something that Chuck had. So
No, he knocked the what? Gear flowings off.
oh,
Ah,
okay.
Chuck would forgive him anyway.
Yeah.
You know, we always forgive our animals, even he'll forgive Noah no matter what Noah does. I'll forgive Patches no matter what Patches does.
I see you tomorrow. Or
Take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
so Jeff, time to time to remind everybody of the arrangements on 2025.
Yeah. For those of you that have come in late on the show, a group of myself and a group of the members on the panel met this past Tuesday of this week to talk about the future of the live stream and the determination. And I'll just cut to the chase, not read the whole thing I read earlier in the show. If you want to hear the whole thing, go back to the beginning of the video and watch it. But in a nutshell, I decided, I offered and was accepted to continue to do the photo of the month, do the photo review. So I'm going to continue to do the photo review the first Saturday of every month. It'll be through my YouTube channel, Selective Imagery. Same thing how you got to me tonight. Okay, nothing changes. It's just I'm only going to be doing that on the first Saturday of every month. I will be doing the photo review. In terms of the regular community discussions and talking about other events and other things, Chuck's going to be coming back starting the second Saturday in January. And so I will do the first week of every month, and he will do the remaining Saturdays that are in that given month through his YouTube channel on AP Studios, aka Chuck Talks. And he will have hopefully the support of many, if not all, the people that have been kind enough to come and watch this show and frequented his show previously. So hopefully everybody goes back over there and enjoys the discussions, and the format will be determined by him. That's will be his bailiwick and his show. He will do so as he wishes on that. And if you have any suggestions or comments to make, I'm sure you can, share ideas with him, either prior to him starting the show or in the chat while he's doing his show the second week of January.
Exactly. Which is January the 11th.
January 11th. So that's how it's laid out. So because I'm retiring from the weekly live stream business, but I am going to keep my toe in the community pool, as they say, because I have a passion for the photo review. I have a passion for what everybody contributes to the photo review. And I happen to love you guys. I happen to care a lot about the community. I care about the people, respect the people that come on the panel. I care about the people that take their time out of their Saturdays to come and partake in this show, which is let's admit it, some Saturdays are better than others. But I appreciate you taking the time. I mean, it means a lot. And so I'll be thanking you a lot, especially when I get near the end of my steady run here at the end of December. But you'll see me once a month, and then I will take a break from partaking in the other streaming activities for a little while, and I'll pop in the chat. I may pop in on the panel once in a while, but my wife's retiring next year, and I'm actually been not doing a very good job trying to find a place where we could go on a vacation. And embarrassing to admit it, but I mean, when I was much younger and we had children, and I always planned a vacation every year for the family, and it was a very detailed oriented person, because I worked in the aerospace business or the nuclear business for 40 years of my working career. And I had to be that way. So, I mean, I plan everything out, and I was very comfortable, figuring out vacation spots and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, since the kids grew up and moved out, and, we got a dog, and we moved down to South Carolina, which is, where we wanted to be. Haven't been on a vacation in a real long time. And so now, here I am thinking about, where can we go on vacation? And I kind of have a destination in mind that we both kind of want to go to, but I just feel like I'm totally out of my territory now. I just feel like totally stupid, to be quite honest with you.
You get in the swing of it.
Trying to plan a vacation again because I forgot how to do it. And back years ago, you had travel agencies. Worst comes to worst, you'd go to a travel agent and you say, I want to go here. I want to stay here for X number of days. I want to pre-book certain activities, and you'd plan all those activities. Okay, Monday we're going to go and do this, and Tuesday we're going to go and do that, and you'd prepay for all that stuff ahead of time. You'd get it all set up. But, I don't even think there are any travel agents anymore. You have to be your own travel agent now. So, so it's like I feel totally inadequate planning now, and we may just end up staying home. I don't know. I'm really stinking at it, really, really bad, really, really bad. I admit it. But
spreadsheet. Jeff.
Oh God. I don't even feel like I have the drive where I want to do all the homework anymore. I used to just do it like that, and now it's like, I don't feel like it. Why is it so difficult?
Well, just get yourself a map and a dart. Put the map on the wall or in front of your green screen, and throw the dart, and that's where you go.
Yeah, yeah. I went there when I graduated from high school, which was like 5 years ago. Um, and if you believe that, I have some nice swampland in Florida to sell you. It'd be good for a house. But no, I went to Bermuda for 10 days when I graduated high school, and I stayed at a housekeeping apartment. Um, and I rented a moped and I drove. I think that island's roughly about 24 miles across, and I drove every square foot of that island. I covered it on that moped for those 10 days I was there, and I had no fear, and I did all sorts of stuff and planned all sorts of activities, and no problem at all. And I know my wife would love the beaches there and like to go there, and
and we have one member of the community that is also in the Bermuda. By the way, David, I still like physical maps.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they're nice to have, you know.
Yes, it's
A good backup. Yeah.
yeah, and they are nice. It's like a book, correct? Having passing the pages is
Are,
different than
are yours plasticized or are they paper?
no. These are these series of National Geographic maps
Yeah.
are which are for travel. They are all plastic, correct?
Okay, so you can get them wet and you don't lose them.
Oh yeah, yeah, and then you can get rain on top of them. So typically, when I'm planning, and actually I take them with me in my camera bag because I do like, give you a sense of if you only do Google Maps and all that kind of stuff, you lose a sense of distance.
Oh
Correct.
yeah,
A physical map allows you to see a lot.
yeah.
Uh,
I like
I'm going
physical.
to say hi to Rakesh. I think I commented in the chat, but I want to
Yes,
say it out loud and say hello to him.
yes.
And like I said, it's nice to see Z Wade popping in here quick. Hope you're doing well. Hope things are going well for you, as we all wish for all our fellow contributors in the photography arena. Right? We support each other, and we want to see everyone do well.
Exactly. And by the way, that's one of the things that we want to do when Chuck comes back, correct? We will need to help him out, correct? And help him practice getting into the swing of things, correct? So it's important that the community there help him, correct? And he loves to have a lot of panelists, correct?
Yeah, he's I think it's obvious, and he alluded to that fact that his his speech isn't where he wants it to be yet, and he's going to need some help. He's going to need some people that can if he to carry on a conversation a little bit more in depth or whatever, and he's going to need help doing that. And so it'd be great for when he comes back on the 12th of January that he gets a lot of support from the community that's here and from people that are on the panel with me and continue to partake in being on the panel for him.
Yeah, and the regular from before, correct? Like Seaway.
Yeah, it's going to be something that's that he needs the support, and
As
so
long as he does it on the 11th and not the 12th.
Exactly.
Well, you can do both days.
well, he when we suggested a 2-hour show, he didn't take too kindly to that. And so that's why I worded that it's 9 till midnight, and but then it could be extended because you never know with Chuck. But I'd like to think that a 10-hour show is not in the works anytime soon. But
Exactly. By the way, he's not here now, but he mentioned as well that he's going to try to do another Christmas special this year. So before January 11th, he's going to try to have one of those. I think it's a Christmas Day or the day before Christmas.
Yeah, it
So-
might have been Christmas Eve. I think last year he
Yeah.
wanted to, or there's some people out there he felt didn't have anywhere to go or no one to
Exactly.
talk to or whatever, and he did a show last year around the holiday, around Christmas, and he's going to do the same thing this year too. So
Yeah.
that'll be on his YouTube channel on AP Studios. So you want to keep an eye out on that. I'm not sure what. When we get closer, I'll ask him to make an announcement on the show as to what time and what day specifically
Exactly.
to do that, so that everybody knows.
He did New Year's Eve also, I think.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, I
he had
think so.
two of them. For all of his fellow servicemen that were away from home.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So anyway, we're at our midnight, normal conclusion time here, and we covered a lot of topics, and we filled in the blanks pretty well, and talking about a little bit more about the Z9 II, and talking about what we anticipate, technology from the red side of the fence migrating over into a Nikon camera, and improved processor and improved sensor and things of that nature, and obviously time will tell. But I personally, I'd rather have them take their time, and when they come out with a new version of that camera, that it really has some very powerful and unique capabilities, and like I said, and then David commented on it, hey, give us a really super high dynamic range sensor in that camera, put in an Xpeed 8 processor, make it so that the PCIe bus in the camera can support the 4.0 CFE B cards, so we have take full advantage of the speed capabilities offered by those cards, data transfer rates and read-write speeds and all that stuff. And let's make it so that it really is a measurable and different, give us pre-capture raw,
Yep.
and be willing to maybe consider, because they could do it now if they wanted to, and obviously they weren't looking to succumb to the critics or quieting the critics. But I mean, if they wanted to right now, they could offer 30 frames per second raw if they wanted to with the in the Z9, because Sony got around to doing that in the A1 by basically knocking down the bit rate a little bit, to make it easier for them to do that. So, Nikon could do that right now if they wanted to, but let's hope that consider that as an option, because some people want 30 frames a second. So, okay, so you come out with a Z9 II, and you got a better processor and a better sensor, and if you have the faster CFE B cards, then make it so we have 30 frames per second raw or more. And so there's a lot of things that they can put into that future camera that will that could make people consider doing a trade up or trade in on their old one to get the new one. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, see, Jeff, with this is the new processor, the new sensor, and the new bus speed all go together.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do. I hope they do.
It's no use having one being kick-ass and the other not. And you want to get it right, because if they do, and they have 20 stops of dynamic range and 16 or 20 bit color files, that it takes an awful lot of processing power, but man is going to have nice pictures out of it. and everything else is simple after that.
I'm typing a response to Rakesh. Asking if I was going to get the Viltrox 16 millimeter 1.8, and I said, unfortunately, a slight negative that I heard about the lens is the lens hood falls off real easy. So I don't think that'll stop me from getting it. I'll get it at some point. To be honest with you, right? See, right now, I always struggle between getting things that are current regarding what my normal shooting cameras are, and then continuing my bad gas habit of buying vintage cameras. So I have my eye on a handful of vintage cameras that I'm looking at. So the vintage camera lust may overtake the Viltrox 16 millimeter lust for a while, and the Viltrox might have to wait, but we'll see. But I think we're going to call it a night, folks.
Kim and I had a discussion about whether or not that's really a cabinet or a picture on a green screen, because you didn't open a door. All you did was point.
Well, no.
And you can solve it right now by opening any door.
We will.
Oh, it is real, Tim.
It is real. We will open up a door, and we can even take out a lens.
Oh.
So it's all real.
Mm-hmm.
All real. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming on and visiting and saying hi and putting up with us for another week. We appreciate it, and thank everybody on the panel for coming on and helping out as always. And we will get together next Saturday night. You'll have to put up with me till the end of the year, and then you only have to see me once a month, so you'll all be able to go out and party and have a good time. So take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
See you.
Make everybody bigger here. That way you can see everybody as we depart. Sail on that photo arc of a journey.
Mhm.
Follow the